Welcome to a fresh morning hours on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Monday morning, interesting conversation from an Enzo Fernandez interview and some of the things that he has put out. Very, very interesting that we need to talk about. And of course, Barca want to say they are going to have Lamine Yamal Ibanez Nazraoui for this weekend against Athletic Club. And then also, they are going to get Pedri Gonzalez possibly for the game against Chelsea. A very, very interesting plan for Football Club Barcelona in the next few matches that they are going to play in the Champions League and of course also in the Spanish La Liga and also in that big one against Chelsea. We'll talk about that hours on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. And of course, we'll talk also about the update on Chelsea Football Club and when the club is going to announce the franchise sponsor. And if the jersey is even nice with a franchise sponsor, maybe you come on I see on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. So subscribe to the channel now, subscribe to the channel, turn on notification in the notification turn and Michelle and what you do on a BBI come. Of course, so you invest there. Then of course, every day we give you the bet scores. Today, we decided not to give any bet scores because the international break is bad. The games are not good games at all. So we decided to stay away from it today and maybe tomorrow. And of course, we'll return hopefully on Wednesday, Thursday, when the leagues resume proper, then we can get good games for you. Of course, let me see a big thank you to Yesumo Spare Parts Dealership Shop. In this country, if you want the best place for spare parts there, then it's Yesumo Spare Parts Dealership Shop. They deliver everything for you. They sort out everything for you. That's what they do for you. To make sure Yesumo Boseo opposite the post office no honum the shop friend on 059-313-221 059-313-8221 for Yesumo CCA. He'll take very, very good care of you in terms of apparel, in terms of car spare parts and who sort out for you. Then there is MOB clothing saying Tadian Albeshe apparel, shirts, tops, money now the money you look clean and dapper. Now they're called Juma so they are. Then MOB Clothing is your guy for you. Go there right now. Let them take very, very good care of you. No more sort you out. See, about 2 months or 1 month ago, when the African Cup of Nations normal rounds were done for the World Cup now, I tweeted that DR Congo were going to be in the final with Nigeria. And in that final, DRC wins it. Now, at the time, people ask, now what do you mean, say DRC are going to go into the final and in that final, the DRC are going to win it? I wasn't doing it from a place of not liking Nigerians or from a place of hate, if that is the right word to use. But essentially, for me, it came down to what I've seen from the DRC and what the DRC have been doing over the last few years, how they have been growing into it in terms of the kind of football that they play, the kind of players that they attract, how they are running their football. It has been the best. In fact, last month, so 2 months ago, Meshomo against Senegal in the Mitres of Omowo Stadium, they were up against Senegal by 2-0. And everybody thought that they were going to win that game. Then Senegal, using their experience, came back to beat them. And they also had an experienced coach in Abrante friend, Sebastian Sabre. Now, if you know Sebastian Sabre, this is a top manager that has seen it all at the highest level in African football. He is brilliant at it. I knew that, okay, this was going to be a huge game. Can DR Congo go in and then get the job done? Can DR Congo go in and then make sure, say, results? It was a big deal. Can they go on and then deliver in terms of the football that they want to go on and play now? But then again, the big conversation was that how were the DRC going to sort things out? How were the DRC going to make sure say can they beat Nigeria? Because Nigeria is not a small team. I can say, Nigeria. It wasn't going to be easy. But the Nigerian team is not good. It's just a star-studded side that is very, very good. That plays in big teams, and it's money. So obviously, it was a team that people felt like, okay, fine. They were great. They had their names, but they couldn't go on and go and win. I felt that it was not going to happen for Tima, your friend of the Nigerian Super Green Eagles. They went into the game. Nigeria scored first. Later in the game, the DRC equalized. The defender of the Nigerian team was shambolic, both from Ndidi, from Calvin Bassey. Everybody at the back line, that defending was so bad. The DRC got the equalizer. The game pushed to extra time. In fact, the DRC looked like the team that should have won it in regulation time and even also in extra time. Then they managed to take it to penalties. But before the game ended in penalties, DRC4 coach no Yadibi. Very interesting substitution. What he did is to bring in a young goalkeeper who has played just once for the DRC before last night. He had played in just a friendly game. Now, his name is Timothy Fayulu. Now, this is a young goalkeeper who is the third choice of the DRC. I don't know why, because maybe somebody will have said that Fayulu is the best at penalties. But the truth of the matter is that when you look at the three goalkeepers that are there, especially the number one goalkeeper, Lionel Mpasi had been imposed when the DRC defeated Egypt from penalties. So Mpasi is not a bad goalkeeper from penalties, from penalties, right? So I was wondering why. Maybe during the training session, maybe during the preparation of the game to play against Nigeria, Timothy Fayulu was the better goalkeeper in learning where the Nigerians usually take their ball to, in understanding where the Nigerians took their ball to. And then Sebastian Sabre says, you know what, let me throw in Timothy Fayulu. And just like that, from a third choice goalkeeper to the hero of the night was our brand dear friend Timothy Fayulu. He was the hero of the night, absolutely. And then of course, the DRC football national team for a very, very long time, they are not qualified for the World Cup. Now they are in that direction, to the extent that Nigeria for coach Eric Shelley was unhappy. In fact, Eric Shelley was angry, said that DRC for BB. According to Eric Shelley, the DRC were doing something now, or not consider a voodoo in the touchline when they were playing the penalty shootout, and that is what got him infuriated and nearly went to attack the DRC. But then I think that on the field of play, the DRC were better, whether it was by the help of voodoo or not. I think that when the game was going on, the team that looked like they were going to score was the DRC, not Nigeria, especially in the second half when Eric Shelley took off Victor Osimhen, as we hear, from a possible injury or a knock. That was the time. And if you listen to a lot of the Nigerians, they keep on saying, so without Osimhen, Omu leadership at Green Eagles are now. Is the team that bad without a branch friend Victor Osimhen now? Can't they have a team if Victor Osimhen is injured, if Victor Osimhen is unavailable? And now this is the big question that the Nigerians are asking. But then when it went to penalties, it was everybody's game. And I mean, props to our branch friend Stanley Inwabali. He saved a couple of penalties from the DRC. But that last but one penalty from our branch friend Emmanuel Shei Ajayi and a Babese penalty. And then of course the captain of the DRC side, I mean, Chancellor Mbemba plays for Marseille. He has seen it all at the top. This is somebody who wanted to play for the French national team. Obviously, he was always going to be surplus to demands there. Quickly decided to come and play for the DRC. Rallied together the likes of Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Axel Tuasembe, all of these guys, Atamaswaku, all of these big names, brought them together to come and play for Team Ayefredo, the DRC. And today, this is an excellent, very, very good squad that can stand up to any team, anywhere, in the world, and especially in Africa. They obviously can stand up to everybody. The Nigerians were not good enough. They were just not good enough. And of course, to the excitement of Ghanaians and then South Africans, Ghanaians were not truly Nigeria for one. They have showed them the massa. Mo Nigeria for mo nyade esa mo dedi baby adede na mo nyade esa. You are not a good team like that in team. You don't deserve to be there. What it means is that 2022 Nigerian World Cup 2006 Nigerian World Cup, 2010 normal koye, and 2020 Qatar no so manko, 2026 nyade umbekobe, and of course the one omokoye was our last one Russia which was I think in 2018 World Cup, and Nigeria for a team call World Cup. But apart from that, Nigeria struggled to qualify for any World Cup. We'll see how things are going to go. Hi, Fiifi-Manfred. Let's get straight into the foreign tidbits and any funny in Mama because this morning Enzo Fernandez interview has come out. Big interview where Enzo Fernandez speaks about all of the things that's going on. Now, Fernandez is speaking exactly about what he can do as a player, what he has done, how Utimi Freya branch friend Moises Caicedo. Now that story is very interesting. Enzo Fernandez say when Chelsea were starting their project, Sobekaya time ana Chelsea phone ba start on project we one of the first players that we went in to go and get was Enzo Fernandez. I'm sure a lot of people remember the story. In fact, the story is that Baghdad Eghbali was in the final of the World Cup, El Qatar, on a Qatari business partners known as Omudin Kobo. Now, he was there when Enzo Jeremiah Fernandez was playing for the Argentine national team. Now, at the time, Chelsea were on the verge of losing a branch friend Mason Mount and all of these guys. These guys didn't want to extend their contract. So, what Baghdad Eghbali or his sporting directors did was that Enzo Fernandez said, "Oh, Bobo, no, hold and a Baghdad Eghbali catch him say, Charlie, this number 6 or this midfielder, Bobo, I'm at the Argentine national team. No, I want him. Won't find him, mommy. I want to make sure say this is a player that will get at Chelsea Football Club because he is a good player." According to the report, that was when the conversations began. So, Becca, when Chelsea in January, so that World Cup was in December, right? It was around, that is winter, the winter side, around that side, the winter side, where they played the World Cup. I mean, so it was winter in Europe. So, of course, the winter window opens in January. So, it was almost around this time, November entering December, and then January comes in, right? So, they went to Benfica, which was Enzo Fernandez's old club. And Okache Benfica said, Rui Costa at the time, who is the president of Benfica, so they have seen a top player at Football Club Benfica from Argentina, and they feel like this is a player that they would want to buy. I remember on that deadline day night, not Chelsea for struggle to try and get Enzo Fernandez to come to Chelsea. Not Benfica for one, they didn't want to sell in January, and two, if they will sell at a price that works for them alone and not something that works for anybody else. They wanted a price that works for them. That is how Baghdad Eghbali was able to convince them, say, Charlie, the Enzo Fernandez guy is an important player. In fact, there were a lot of reports from Portugal that suggested that it nearly became physical. It nearly became a physical altercation between Abrantia Freno, Baghdad Eghbali, and Abrantia Yefreno, Rui Costa, when both of them were trying to make sure they sort out things and Enzo Fernandez moved to Chelsea Football Club. It was such a big deal at the time. Of course, Enzo Fernandez was a Chelsea player. Now, or your interview, it is in that interview that Enzo Fernandez has reviewed a lot of the details. Now, Charlie, if somebody spills these details and start to talk about these things, it makes it very, very interesting. It's in the sad conversation, sad interview, and Enzo Fernandez has spilled the details of what really went on in there, and that is the most important thing. And we'll see how things are going to be there. You look at the conversation. Also, Enzo Fernandez, he spoke about when he came to Chelsea. So, in that Club World Cup win at Chelsea, Enzo Fernandez was the player who stood alone, literally crying. I don't know if people remember that video. Fernandez stood in the middle of the park after Chelsea won the Club World Cup and was tearing up. I said, a cry ocean. It was mama year of a sort. That's what Enzo Fernandez was going through. And throughout all of those times, you could understand that Enzo Fernandez was going through it emotionally, psychologically. Why? Because when he came to the club was at its lowest. Remember that Enzo Fernandez played under Graham Potter, Frank Lampard, Mauricio Pochettino. All of these three managers did not see success. All of them, it was difficult for them at Chelsea Football Club. It was during when Enzo Fernandez began to play well and the team began to do things right, and Chelsea phone was okay. Now things can go in the right direction for them. So they have to try to see if Enzo Fernandez is going to be that important player so they will come in and get the results that they had to get. It was difficult for Chelsea Football Club and their branch friend Enzo Fernandez in dealing with issues now. And that's why Enzo Fernandez opened up in this interview. He spoke extensively. Now, one of the things that he said, as a player, he became a father at a very, very young age. Young age, also when the first one, when 19, and when the penny friend Olivia, and he said at age 23, which is just 4 years from then, Benjamin, which is the bear market one, and obviously my children are my life, They changed my life completely. And obviously, every time I have a happy moment in the countryside, I try to show them or let them know that they are very important in my life. That is what Enzo Fernandez said, Charlie. For him, the kind of football that they play, the up and down, it comes down to the players now. It comes down to a family, minus our boys now. Nothing else matters for them. I say he opens up on crazy deadline day, move to Chelsea. Wow. Enzo Fernandez opens up on deadline day night story, and I make myself on against with Rui Costa and Benfica. Let's hear the side of the story. Now, Fernandez said it was a month of a lot of chaos. Transfers that were happening, transfers that weren't happening. I was very young at the time too. The truth is that incredible things were happening to me in football. But that time, obviously, that month was really crazy because 1 week I was going to Chelsea. The next week I wasn't going. I didn't know what was going on. That's how it was until the end of the month. So nothing. It ended up happening on the last day of the market. Very high value transfer, and well, I think it was as it was, and I tried to obviously enjoy it in the last few weeks. If it happened, great. If it didn't happen, in the end, I was at the club I like, Benfica, that gave me everything. But it was crazy. It was fine. It finally happened. Today, I'm in Chelsea. I went through an incredible process here at the club with many changes, and well, today, that's what I spoke about, because Enzo Fernandez, bro, he was the one that went through all of the changes at Chelsea. The stress of Chelsea, Sisa coaches, Chelsea, Chelsea, Charlie, it was tough for him. And in fact, there is a point in that interview where Enzo Fernandez talks about how he convinced Moises Caicedo to join him at Chelsea. So, I feel very good with a group of people who are teammates with whom I share every day with. The coaching staff. The truth is that I feel very happy today. That is what Enzo Fernandez is talking about. He spoke about how when Chelsea signed him, Chelsea gave him his first job. Say only one assignment and more. What to play if you Benfica? Everybody knows that when you buy players, it's football on the field of play that they are coming to play. And you see, a ball parks on ball. So I'm going to no, I'm say fine. That is no problem. Ball park so Enzo Fernandez, Chelsea for a catch, and said there is one job that he has to do aside the football that he's going to play on the field of play. Fernandez says, what are you saying? What is this job? What do I have to do? Now listen. He says the connection is that when I found out Chelsea wanted him, obviously I was the first to call him because being South American, the club also asked me on their behalf to try to talk to Moy so that he would come, and obviously I did. I wanted to bring an incredible player like Moy who contributes a lot to the team. We know what's good. Everyone knows what it is. And also the humility he has, right? Also, in everyday life, a boy who always wants to learn, who tries to help you. The connection is very good. Obviously, much better now that the years are passing. We shared many moments off the field too. And honestly, I feel very comfortable with a great relationship and a great connection on the field of play. That is what my friend Enzo Fernandez said. Charlie, I mean, Chelsea for catches on more in Casa. And when he sees that something is good, when he sees that the player is good, he knows that the player is good. And you'll be no catching, so this player is good. So going, no. He had Obobonibi, who made for no sitting ball, say midfielder away, or yeah, no sitting ball. So let me contact this midfielder and then go and play him. Let me see how I can get this midfielder to link up with him and see how things are going to go. And that's exactly what he did. That's exactly how he was able to get in with Abrantia, your friend Moises Caicedo, and then develop the craft, build the craft to the level where we're able to get to where they are. Now, he spoke again on Caicedo. See, he's a very humble, hardworking guy who always gives his all for the team every day. I'm very happy to have him at Chelsea. He's a machine. I hope he continues like this. That's exactly what Enzo Fernandez is talking about. His move at Chelsea and Abrantia, your friend Moises Caicedo, which is very, very important when it comes to these kind of players and the kind of football that they are playing over there. It's very important, very, very important. I said Chelsea Forum are able to get these relationships with themselves on the field of play, off the field of play. Now, they say only 5 top players 5 top players are on. Enzo Fernandez is going to play with, say, yeah, but maybe a 6 aside. Umber 5 out of but Chelsea players 2. Hey, Fernandez. Imagine, guess the kind of players that Enzo Fernandez mentioned. Who are the players that Enzo Fernandez mentioned? Who did he mention? Did he mention Osha Hano Bwandin or Boy or Bwandin? Obviously, I'm thinking that there's always going to be a branch here. Your friend, a friend is saying there's always going to be a branch here. Your friend, Moises Caicedo in the list. Now, this is what you mentioned. Or you didn't want to say Messi. About Kuti Romero, Torian Mospe. I've said it several times that Enzo Fernandez, the Argentines, they love each other. But in fact, he mentioned 3 Argentines, 2 Chelsea players. See Cole Palmer. About Cole Palmer or listing. About Julian Alvarez. I hear that in the Argentine national team, Enzo Fernandez's best friend, Julian Alvarez, and he is very, very close to him. He essentially always gets, very close to him. They have a good time. They sign him, so his friend is a branch friend, Julian Alvarez. Now goes on to mention Moises Caicedo, El Honam. So 3 players, and of course, on Enzo 5 players on board, 2 of them from Chelsea, which is Cole Palmer and our branch friend Moises Caicedo. 2 of them that he thinks that are going to go right to the top. El Honam. All of that was in that interview. You don't be sad and say, Charlie, or no Enzo Fernandez, no. What is his dream? What's you? Or no. He has a huge dream of Chelsea. Or Chelsea 101. Or per se, who free Chelsea as a legend of the club. Now, my dream is to win the Champions League or the Premier League with the club. We know what that means for the club. We try to represent in the best way every day, every game. According to Enzo Fernandez, or no, or per se, Premier League, maybe. Or per se, making sure say English Premier League, wajibi. Or per se, making sure say Champions League, wabubiaji for Chelsea Football Club. It's something that he wants to do as a player, and that's what he's trying so hard to make sure say obetimiako just something over there. Chelsea are going different from the direction over there. Remember the Victor Osimhen conversation. Now there's an update on about here. A friend Rodrigo goes to Chelsea, and why Chelsea have turned him down. It is wages, any age. The last time Beccacho said one of the reasons why Chelsea may not look at the way of a branch here, friend Rodrigo goes, a branch here, your friend, a branch here, your friend. Rodrigo goes in the age and also in the salary at OJ. So Chelsea have decided to go their different way. According to Fabrizio Romano, from what I'm told, Rodrigo is not even on the list at Chelsea. At the moment, there is absolutely 0 reports on Rodrigo. And apparently, Chelsea have a list of players that they want to go on and go and sign in January. Osha list and so on. What we know is that the full list, Nyami Adoma, El Honme, clear attackers, defenders, the kind of players want to sign. But a branch friend Rodrigo goes, Nidini listeners, so Nidini listeners, so Osha listener, Rodrigo goes, Nidini listeners, so, and of course, we'll see how that is going to be. El Honm, whether Chelsea for or molesting. I know that on the list there's a centre back. I know that there is a plan. My branch friend Odone is not signing on one of them, a very, very important player. But then they don't have a branch friend Rodrigo goes also our listener, so which is very, very important. We'll see how things are going to go on from the Football Club Barcelona. There is an update because there is a big one from the camp of our branch friend Lamine Yamal Ibanez Nazari. There is an important conversation Lamine Yamal side on what Lamine Yamal represents and the kind of things that's going to go on there. He has come in and he has had that conversation. True or false, when you look at Lamine Yamal, the conversation around it, a Barca away kit for next season is expected to be yellow. Barcelona don't receive the 1B license now for the Spotify Camp Nou today. They would have to delay their return to the Spotify Camp Nou. Open training on. But it's left to the 1B license that Barca have to get. If Barca are able to get the 1B license, they will go into the conversation and then probably go and play this weekend against Athletic Club. The Barca expect to receive the news on the City Council on the return to the Spotify Camp Nou today. If everything comes today, the team could return to the next match against Athletic Club. That's where they'll go on and go and play their game. The Spotify Camp Nou. Barcelona are interested in Alejandro Gilmado to compete with Alejandro Balde, but all of that comes down to money. all of that come down to money. Are they willing to pay the money that they have to pay to go in there to go and do the job at Honoman? I will see how things are going to go. Barcelona believe that the part of the problem for Alejandro Balde's lackluster form is that Gerard Martin and Geoffrey Torrentes are not good enough to seriously compete to him, according to Mundo Deportivo. I mean, Barca need to find ways to get on with players now and firing and competing. Breaking Barcelona are worried with the performance of Alejandro Balde and Jules Koundé, according to Mundo Deportivo. Fullback updates and Barca approach Alex Gilmado. Chelsea have a January transfer list, but Barca have also approached Alex Gilmado. Barca approached Alex Gilmado for next player Beso Motono when it comes to January now. They would want to make sure they get in a branch friend Alex Gilmado. What we are hearing is that Juan Garcia is fully back. According to sources close to Juan Garcia, he is in perfect condition and excited that he comes in to come and play. Of course, Robert Lewandowski has been offered a 1-year contract by a Premier League team, according to Indica. I do not believe that story, though. Of course, on the other side, and there's the conversation of in and around our branch friend Lamine Yamal, Ibanez, Nazoria. No, Marcus Rashford played for the Three Lions on the left-hand side. It looks as if Marcus Rashford keeps on going the way he's going now, that position automatically becomes his, and he'll play there for a very, very long time. Of course, whilst on the other side, there was a conversation around our branch friend Lamine Yamal, who possibly retains in that game against Athletic Club, and also the big one against Chelsea, where Pedri Gonzalez is expected to come in and play. We'll see how things are going to go with that Pedri Gonzalez conversation. We'll see how things are going to go on in terms of the conversation, all the analysis, all Sasha Ninya, Marcus Rashford at the moment here, a very, very important player for Team My Friend Football Club Barcelona, of course, also for the Three Lions. Guys, let's draw the curtain now on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. I'll see you later in the day. Bye-bye.